Hello guys, welcome to my humble YouTube channel where I bring you fanfiction that will brighten your days. Before we start, a subscribe is greatly appreciated, and don't forget to leave a like and ring the bell icon so you won't miss exciting new fanfiction stories. True God in Another World, Tensura x Tbate, by Tempest_King_20. Chapter 22, Assimilation. Rimuru Pav. It's been 2 years since we arrived in the kingdom of Eleanor, and let me tell you, it's been quite a ride. My team and I have been hustling, and we've managed to achieve some pretty impressive stuff. First off, we freed all the slaves, snatched up all the goods from those slimy slave traders, and got right to work on our big project. We decided to build a restaurant and snack shop first, bringing back the delicious food I remembered from my past life. And you know what? The people loved it. Our restaurant became a hit, and surprisingly, it brought in a good amount of money. With those funds, we wasted no time in setting up a top-notch blacksmith shop, thanks to some badass tools crafted by the talented dwarves. But we didn't stop there. Our team of hard-working folks started tackling other important projects, like opening medical herbal shops and setting up other crucial facilities. I even tried my hand at recreating some of the tech I knew from my previous life, like trains. Turns out, that was a bit too ambitious for our current resources and lack of sponsorship. Plus, I wanted the train track to pass on the 3 kingdoms, so I'll have to make some major adjustments. Guess I'll need to find some inventors and scientists to help out. Now, let's talk about those scumbag slave traders. I decided to take a few of them and conduct some experiments. To be honest, most of them didn't turn out too well, but hey, I managed to gain some valuable insights from the whole ordeal. As for the slaves, some of them chose to return to their homes, which I agreed to, of course, on the condition that they not tell anyone about me. As for the rest, I took them with me and some of them began training, while others were helping to build our little town. Oh, did I forget to mention that part? My bad. With the help of Seal, we found a sweet spot in one of the forests near Xyrus. It's got some magical protection, just like the Elshire forest. Let me tell you, finding that place was a major pain in the ass. First, we cleared the place of trees, weeds. We started building houses, shops, and basic facilities. It was a hard and stressful experience, but we learned a lot as we continued to improve the town. Next, we created a magic ring around the town and used appropriate techniques to groom the land around the ring. Since illusion magic relied on the height of the magic energy moving around, we used the mana beast's core we obtained. We also made sure to build training facilities with plenty of mana, helping our crew refine their skills even faster. We've got some seriously talented folks, though I wouldn't call them geniuses just yet. They're not quite on par with Kyle and Kyla, who are some of our strongest members. You're distracted, Kyla shouted, shooting a bunch of fiery arrows my way. I managed to dodge them all with some seriously quick reflexes, gracefully dodging out of harm's reach. But just when I thought I could catch my breath, I found myself crouching to avoid a sword aimed straight for my neck. I couldn't help but smirk at Kyla's attempt to hurt me. You still have a long way to go, I teased. I swiftly kicked Kyle in the stomach, sending him stumbling back a few steps. Then, with a flick of my hand, I conjured blades of wind and sent them flying towards Kyla. She effortlessly leapt out of the way, retaliating with fireballs blazing towards me at lightning speed. Out of nowhere, gravity suddenly got heavier around me, catching me off guard. But I tapped into my gravity magic in no time, countering the increased force and keeping my balance. The fireballs were closing in fast, leaving me with no time to waste. Thinking on my feet, I conjured a solid ice wall in front of me, shielding me from the impending flames. Without wasting a second, I moved with lightning speed. Using the earth beneath me, I summoned stones and hurled them towards Kyla with astonishing velocity. She managed to evade at the last possible moment, narrowly avoiding the onslaught of projectiles. As I shifted my focus to Lena, who had also joined the battle against me, memories flooded my mind. I remembered the time when we fought against those slavers, and Anna, Lena, and Lloyd awakened as mages. Anna showed that she is a witch with an affinity for water, and Lloyd had an affinity for fire, while Lena was the only one who had an affinity for 2 elements between them, which is earth and wind. She also became deviant in gravity a while ago. With my sword in hand, I charged towards Lena, determined to take her down. But just as I went for it, Lloyd appeared out of thin air, expertly deflecting my sword with his own. You've gotten faster, I complimented him as we engaged in a fierce exchange of blows. Turns out, Lloyd's swordsmanship was pretty impressive for his age, but my experience and wide range of techniques gave me the upper hand. We clashed swords, the sound of metal meeting metal echoing through the air. I unleashed a rapid succession of strikes, each one aimed with precision. Lloyd, however, proved to be nimble, effortlessly blocking my attacks. Knowing that time was of the essence before the others could join in, I used my wind magic to knock Lloyd off balance, seizing the opportunity to deliver a final blow that rendered him unconscious. "One down," announced Alfred, the referee, confirming Lloyd's defeat. I unleashed a gust of fierce wind on the remaining opponents who stood some distance away. Lena summoned a gust to counter my spell. Adjusting my strategy, I combined my wind and fire magic, creating a storm of flames that bore down on them. Anna swiftly reacted, conjuring a wall of water that absorbed the intense heat, showcasing her impressive skill set. Seizing the moment, I tapped into my illusion magic, rendering myself invisible. Stealthily, I maneuvered behind them, preparing to launch a devastating attack. As I reappeared, I unleashed a storm of flames fueled by the power of the wind. They desperately tried to dodge the blazing inferno, but I had already drawn my sword, ready to engage them in direct combat. Trading blows with each of them, I assessed their strengths and weaknesses, adapting my strategy accordingly. Though they fought valiantly, their weariness began to show. Using my gravity magic, I abruptly halted their movements, leaving them momentarily stunned. Then, I launched my final attack that knocked them all to the ground, beating them. "Well done, everyone, you fought admirably," praised Alfred, his hands clapping together in applause as he approached the group. His warm smile and encouraging tone helped to ease the tension that had built up during the intense training session. Anna, however, furrowed her brow, her disbelief evident. "It's hard to believe that when we haven't even landed a hit on him," she said, her voice laced with frustration. Sophia stepped forward and announced her arrival. "You don't have to think about it, you're not the first person who can't do that," she said, her calm demeanor a stark contrast to Anna's exasperation. Surprised, Lena turned to Sophia, her eyes widening in astonishment. "Ah, big sis Sophia, when did you arrive?" Sophia offered Lena a gentle pat on the head as she explained, "I've been here for a while, but I didn't want to disturb you, so I stayed on the sidelines." Her tone was warm and reassuring, like a caring older sister. "All of you have improved greatly. But don't let the fact that you couldn't hit that monster discourage you." "Oi, I'm still here, you know," I interjected, feigning a slightly annoyed tone. Sophia chuckled, a mischievous smile playing on her lips. She then bowed dramatically to me and said, "Oh, my apologies, Lord Rimuru. Forgive this shameless maid." I clicked my tongue, fully aware that Sophia enjoyed teasing me in this manner. "All right, let's focus on the task at hand. What's the report?" I shifted the conversation to the matters at hand, eager to ensure that our operations were proceeding as planned. Sophia assumed a serious demeanor and reported, "Everything is going well. There are some minor issues, but we can handle them." I nodded in response. "Good, I didn't expect them to be so loyal, but more importantly, we knew who they were involved with. Keep it up." I gave Sophia the task of questioning some of the slaver leaders along with some other tasks, because I was sure there would be backers from high ranks who helped them in their crimes, whether they were nobles, merchants, or even adventurers. "Is there anything else?" I inquired, wanting to make sure we had covered all the necessary bases. Sophia shook her head. "No, that's all. Are you leaving now?" "Yes, I have some matters to attend to, but before that," I turned my gaze to the 5 individuals in front of me. "As Sophia mentioned, you all have improved greatly, but there's still room for growth. First, Kyle and Kyla. Both of you are skilled in fire magic, but have you ever considered exploring wind magic? It may provide you with more options and the ability to combine it with your fire magic, just like I did," I suggested. They nodded, indicating their understanding. Next, I focused my attention on Lloyd. "You excel in swordsmanship and fire manipulation individually, but have you ever considered combining the two? Whether it's enhancing your body or infusing your weapon, there are countless possibilities." Lastly, I turned to Lena and Anna. Both of you possess great magical abilities, but you're lacking in close combat skills. I suggest learning to wield a close-range weapon to complement your magic. Anna retorted, "But how are we supposed to do that? We're conjurers, not augmenters." The rest of us exchanged puzzled glances, prompting Anna to backtrack. "I mean, don't compare us to Kyle and Kyla. They're already adventurers, unlike us. Sighing, Alfred, Sophia, and I exchanged knowing looks. 2 years ago, I had arranged for Kyle and Kyla to become adventurers in order to gain experience. I had made sure they weren't alone, finding them a capable party to guide and assist them. We had maintained contact with that party ever since, ensuring their progress and safety. Flashback. 2 years ago, on Kyle and Kyla's first mission raiding slavers. We had just completed the task of rescuing a group of enslaved people when we were suddenly stopped by a party of 4 experienced adventurers. The leader, a slim man with chiseled features and a stern expression, stepped forward. His voice was laced with menace as he demanded, "Stop there. Who are you and why are you here?" Our group remained silent, all eyes turning to me as I calmly observed the newcomers. I took a moment to assess the situation, carefully gauging the strength and capabilities of the adventurers before me. They were a well-equipped and battle-hardened group. The leader wielded a sharp longsword, a hulking warrior carried a massive greatsword on his back, a petite and lithe woman held a pair of deadly-looking daggers, and the fourth member, a emitter by the looks of her robes. Deciding that I needed to test their power, I suddenly launched myself at the leader, my movements quick and decisive. The man, taken by surprise, quickly brought up his sword to parry my blow. The clash of steel echoed through the air as we exchanged a flurry of strikes, my superior agility and speed allowing me to evade his counterattacks with ease. "What are you doing, Rimuru?" Ethan called out, his voice laced with confusion and concern. "You just stay there," I replied, my focus unwavering as I continued to engage the leader. "What are you doing, kid? Why are you attacking us?" the man said, his brow furrowed as he lowered his weapon slightly, a hint of uncertainty in his tone. "Rimuru," I stated simply, brushing the dust off my clothes as I spoke. "Huh?" The leader looked at me, puzzled by my introduction. "My name is Rimuru, so I hope you won't call me kid," I said, dropping into a fighting stance. Seeing my action, the rest of the adventurers' party mirrored my posture, readying themselves for battle. "There's something on my mind, and I want to make sure of it," so I trailed off, my eyes narrowing as I charged forward, aiming a blow at the leader. "Fight me with everything you got." He raised his sword, prepared to parry my attack, but I quickly changed direction, shifting my focus to the party's emitter. As I closed in, a massive fist came hurtling towards me from the side, and I barely managed to bring both hands up to counter the blow, the impact sending me skidding backwards. Glancing at my attacker, I saw the hulking warrior wielding his massive greatsword. "Let's stop here, Rimuru," the man said, his deep voice rumbling. "We don't want to hurt you." "I know that, but go along for a bit, okay?" I responded, taking a step back to avoid a swift dagger strike from the petite, athletic-looking woman. "Oh, that was close. So, shall we continue?" I asked, a playful smile tugging at the corners of my lips as I addressed my female opponent. "Of course, show me what you can do, kid," she taunted, her own grin mirroring mine, clearly trying to provoke me. But I simply returned her smile, unfazed by her sarcasm, as I drew a dagger from my dimensional ring and engaged her in close quarters combat. We exchanged blows with dizzying speed and skill, each of us showcasing our advanced fighting techniques. I leveraged my agility and tactical prowess, deftly avoiding her strikes while delivering powerful counterattacks. Despite her best efforts, I began to notice a slight decline in her focus and speed as the exchange continued. I leapt into the air, narrowly evading a powerful fire spell from the leader. Turning my attention to him, I hurled one of my daggers, propelling myself forward to engage him directly. The hulking warrior once again tried to punch me, but I swiftly dodged the blow and struck him in the stomach, though my attack seemed to have little effect. "TCH, I clicked my tongue, undeterred as we traded blows, the warrior proving to be a tenacious and skilled combatant. A heavy blow landed on my right wing, causing me to stumble momentarily before regaining my footing and rushing back to meet him. Desperate to gain the upper hand, I utilized gravitational magic to slow the warrior's movements, but just as I thought I might finally knock him down, a powerful arrow of fire shot towards me. I quickly evaded the attack, only to find myself trapped between the adventurers' party. I raised my hand in a gesture of peace, a gentle smile gracing my features. "Sorry for attacking you, I wanted to check something," I said, my tone light and disarming. My words were met with a moment of hesitation from the 4 adventurers. their expressions a mix of confusion and wariness as they slowly lowered their weapons. The leader, his chiseled features etched with a hint of curiosity and suspicion, asked, "What is it?" "What do you think about taking care of 2 children?" I asked, my voice cheerful and casual, as if I were proposing a simple request. The group responded in unison with a perplexed, "What?" and I had to suppress the urge to giggle at their reaction. Their bewildered expressions were almost comical. "As I said, I want you to take care of 2 kids, I explained, turning my attention to Kyle and Kyla and waving them to come closer. "You see, these are mages already and they're well trained, so I want you to help them become adventurers." The adventurers glanced at each other, their brows furrowed in contemplation. The emitter, a woman with a calm and collected demeanor, spoke up, "But that doesn't explain why you attacked us all of a sudden." "I was just seeing if you were good enough," I shrugged, trying to suppress my amused smile. However, before I could say anything else, I was suddenly struck in the back of the head by an angry Sophia. "Don't go and fight everyone you meet, Rimuru," she chided me, her tone stern but tinged with exasperation. I couldn't help but grin sheepishly in response, like a child caught in mischief. Sorry, I won't do that again," I promised, turning back to face the adventurers. "Then, what is your answer?" "Wait, didn't you object to Kyle and Kyla coming here?" Ethan asked, his brows furrowed in confusion as he approached us with his hands casually tucked into his pockets. "Now you want them to go to the dungeons?" I simply shrugged, a nonchalant expression on my face. "Plans have changed," I stated matter-of-factly. "I think this will be a good learning experience for them." The hulking warrior, his beady eyes narrowed to slits as he regarded me, rumbled in his deep, gravelly voice, "What will we get from that? You don't expect us to babysit 2 kids for free, right?" I grinned mischievously, spreading my hands out in front of me. "Of course not," I replied, making direct eye contact with each member of the party. "In exchange for your help, I will give you the power." I paused, letting the weight of my words sink in. "A power you never dreamed of having, and support, whether it be money, weapons, or anything. Whatever you need to help you succeed." The woman with the daggers raised a skeptical eyebrow, her tone dripping with suspicion. "Am I the only one who feels like we're making a deal with a demon?" she said, earning a sharp smack from the healer standing beside her. "What? I didn't say anything wrong," the woman retorted, rubbing the back of her head and shooting the healer a disgruntled look. I simply smiled widely, unfazed by her comment. The leader, his brow furrowed in a mixture of doubt and curiosity, said, "Are you going to give us all of that in exchange just for making these 2 kids adventurers?" He raised a single eyebrow, his gaze unwavering as he waited for my response. I didn't respond, instead letting the weight of my offer linger in the air, my enigmatic smile refusing to falter. "Wait a second, we have to discuss this," the leader sighed, rubbing his head as he and his party moved away, while Sophia continued to scold me in the background. It only took a few minutes before they returned, the leader speaking up with a resigned sigh. "We accept it, I just hope we don't regret it," he said, the apprehension evident in his tone. "Believe me, you won't regret it," I assured them, a confident smile spreading across my face. "But first, how about we introduce ourselves?" I extended my hand towards the leader. "As you know, I'm Rimuru Lewin." The leader eyed my outstretched hand for a second before giving it a firm shake. "I am Jackson Morgan, a rank adventurer and the leader of this party," he introduced himself, his grip strong and his expression slightly wary. "I'm an augmenter at the light orange stage, with a specialization in fire." Jackson was a tall, muscular man who looked to be around 25 years old. His short, white hair and piercing blue eyes gave him an imposing presence, further accentuated by the sword sheathed at his side, indicating his prowess as a swordsman. He looked like a main character in an anime. Next, the petite woman with the daggers stepped forward. "My turn. I am Lara Evanale, an A-rank adventurer," she said, her voice laced with a hint of confidence. "I'm an augmenter at the light orange stage, with a specialization in wind and a sound deviant. Oh, and I also use dual daggers." Lara appeared to be around 23 years old, with long, brown hair tied into a bun and striking green-blue eyes. Her athletic and lithe build was evident in her comfortable combat attire, which consisted of black shorts, a black t-shirt, and long, black stockings, with a black leather shield over her shirt. The healer, a 21-year-old girl with long, pink hair and green eyes, introduced herself next. I'm Emma Helvanis, also an A-rank adventurer. I'm a dark orange stage conjurer, with an emitter deviant ability specializing in healing, she said, her voice calm and professional. I am Leo Walker, a rank adventurer, solid orange and earth augmenter with gravity deviant, he said as he approached and extended his hand towards me. I shook his hand. Nice grip, nice to meet you Rimuru, you are really strong, haha. He looked like a muscular man of 26 with short brown hair and a little hair on his chin and brown eyes, wearing knightly armor with a huge sword in his hand. As the rest of the group introduced themselves, Alfred, one of the adventurers, asked, "By the way, why did you come here?" Jackson, the leader, responded, "Oh, right, we were told there were some bandits here, so we came to finish them off, but it looks like you guys have already taken care of them." I shook my head slightly, a serious expression on my face. Actually, they weren't bandits, but slave traders, I corrected him. Anyway, I look forward to working with you all, I said, a faint smile tugging at the corners of my lips. Flashback ends. Shortly thereafter the twins took a rank examination and became B-rank adventurers, and from that time on all three of them, Lloyd, Anna, and Lena were jealous of Kyle and Kyla and feeling left out and resentful towards me for not giving them the same opportunity. By the way, both Jackson and Lara have become a Class A adventurers while Emma and Leo are still in A class. Jackson is in solid yellow stage, Lara and Leo are dark yellow stage, and Emma is in light orange stage. I sighed inwardly, feeling the weight of their expectations on my shoulders. I understand you're feeling left out, I began, my voice gentle but firm. But there's more to this than just favoritism. Anna's eyes flashed with defiance. But we've been working hard too, it's not fair that. Alfred cut her off, his usually kind face stern. Although that may be one reason, you three have fallen behind in your training, not putting in the same effort as Kyle and Kyla. He looked directly at Anna, his gaze softening slightly as he saw the hurt in her eyes.
But, Anna tried again, her voice quavering slightly. I could see the tears threatening to spill over. Okay, stop, I said, raising a hand to halt the brewing argument. Let's not get into a debate about who's worked harder. What's important is moving forward. I paused, making sure I had everyone's attention. If you all practice hard and prove your skills, I'll be more than happy to let you go on adventures with Kyle and Kyla. The change in their expressions was immediate and dramatic. Lloyd's eyes widened in surprise, Anna's face lit up with joy, and Lena clasped her hands together in excitement. Really? You mean it? Lloyd asked, his voice filled with hope. I nodded, a smile tugging at my lips. Absolutely. But remember, it'll take hard work and dedication. Yay. The three of them erupted in cheers, jumping and hugging each other. Their earlier resentment seemed to melt away in the face of this new opportunity. I'm leaving now, I announced, breaking into their jubilation. Call me if something happens. I waved as I turned towards the teleportation gate, my mind already on my next task. After we settled in this place, I was able, with the help of Sylvia, Rinia, and Seal, to build a teleportation gate that is connected near Rinia's hut, and we can also change the coordinates, so we can go to every place that has a teleportation gate as long as we know its coordinates, and it was working. I entered the palace and headed towards one of the rooms in which we had placed the teleportation gate. I input the coordinates for Zester, watching as the gate hummed to life, its surface shimmering like a heat haze. Taking a deep breath, I stepped through. The familiar sensation of teleportation washed over me, and in an instant, I found myself in Zester. The guards on duty reacted instantly, swords raised, before recognition dawned on their faces. Rimuru, the commander, a retired royal guard I knew well, lowered his weapon. His weathered face creased in confusion. Weren't you at Elder Rinia's house?
I smiled disarmingly. Yeah, and I just got back.
His brow furrowed deeper. But no carriage has been dispatched yet.
I wanted to take a walk, I lied smoothly, so I didn't ask for a carriage. The commander's face cleared, replaced by a warm smile. Is that right? Then wait a little longer. I will order a carriage for you to take you to the palace. There's no need for that, I said, already moving past him. I still want to take a walk, and the palace is not far. He bowed respectfully. Understood. As I set off towards the palace, I couldn't help but marvel at how easily the lie had come. But sometimes, I reminded myself, little white lies were necessary to keep the peace and protect the bigger truths. With that thought, I strode purposefully into the bustling streets of Zester. The air was thick with the aroma of fresh bread from nearby bakeries and the earthy scent of herbs from the apothecary's shop. Colorful banners fluttered in the gentle breeze, adding splashes of vibrancy to the weathered stone buildings. As I walked, I couldn't help but marvel at the mix of magic and mundane that made Zester unique. A group of children, spotting me from afar, came running with excited shouts. Their energy was contagious, and I couldn't help but grin as they surrounded me, tugging at my sleeves and peppering me with questions about magic and adventures. "Did you fight any beast today?" a freckled boy asked, his eyes wide with wonder. I chuckled, ruffling his hair. "Not today, but who knows what tomorrow might bring." As I was about to continue my stroll, a familiar voice rang out behind me. "Oh, looks like my rival is here today too." I turned to see Faerith, the young elf I'd come to know well since my arrival in Zester. His green eyes sparkled with a mix of challenge and admiration. "Oh Faerith," I said with a grin, "do you want to duel today too?" Faerith's pointed ears twitched slightly as he considered the offer. I could see the internal struggle playing out on his face, the desire to prove himself warring with some other commitment. "No, I think I will pass today," he said finally, approaching me with a smile that I returned. I placed my hand on his shoulder, feeling the tension in his muscles. He was clearly itching for a chance to test his skills. Faerith's resolve wavered for a moment, but he shook his head. "No, I will go practice with my master in a little while, so let's duel another day," he declined, though the excitement in his eyes was evident. I nodded, understanding his dedication. "Is that so? Then I won't bother you anymore. Practice hard and maybe you can catch up with me someday." I winked, letting him know it was all in good fun. Faerith's competitive spirit flared. "Just watch, I will catch up to you in no time," he declared, raising his fist towards me. I met his fist with my own, feeling a surge of affection for this determined young elf. "I'll be waiting for that day," I said sincerely. We shared a moment of mutual respect before I bid him and the children farewell. As I continued my walk towards the palace, I couldn't help but reflect on how much this place had come to mean to me. I stopped at a small stand, buying some sweet-smelling pastries for the journey, the sugar crystals glittering in the sunlight. The palace soon loomed before me, its spires reaching towards the sky, adorned with fluttering flags. The two guards at the gate, recognizing me, bowed low and swung the ornate doors open. The first person I saw was Aaliyah, her gentle smile a welcome sight. "Oh Rimuru, good morning," she said, her voice as soothing as always. "I was about to pick you up from the elder Rinya's house." Looking at Aaliyah, I felt a wave of affection. Despite being mentally older, I couldn't help but see her as a big sister. "Good morning, big sis Aaliyah," I said with a smile. I wanted to walk a little. "Shall we go to the backyard?" Aaliyah's eyes sparkled with understanding as she nodded, falling into step beside me as we made our way towards the expansive lawn behind the palace. "Today, Art will complete his assimilation, won't he?" Aaliyah inquired, her tone casual. "Yeah," I replied, my mind racing with possibilities. "Gramps said that. So how about we spar after he completes his assimilation?" "No problem for me. I don't have any tasks today." Aaliyah nodded with a smile. As we reached the backyard, we spotted Gramps sitting on a stool, sipping tea with an air of calm that I envied. "Good morning, Gramps," I called out, trying to match his composure. Gramps turned towards us with a knowing smile. "Ah, Rimuru. You're here early," he remarked, acknowledging our presence. "Shall we share a cup of tea together?" Seated with Gramps, the three of us fell into a comfortable silence, the anticipation for Art's assimilation palpable in the air. The moments stretched into what felt like an eternity, until finally, Art emerged from his chambers, his expression a mix of grogginess and determination. "Finally awake now, Art," Gramps teased, his eyes twinkling with mischief. "How did your wife wake you up today? Ha ha." Art groaned, his face a mix of embarrassment and exasperation. Wife? Where? I didn't know you could marry demons." "You're turning her into a monster, Gramps," he muttered, rubbing his eyes. "Thank God Ree told her to stop, but just thinking about that time gives me goosebumps." I could see the memories flashing behind Art's eyes, a mix of fondness and mild terror. Just then, Tess appeared, and I noticed Art's posture straighten slightly, his eyes softening as they landed on her. "Ha ha ha. Art, are you ready? Today is finally the day. After this, You'll be a true beast tamer. Not like those lucky adventurers that just have a beast will, he emphasized, arms crossed. Art gave him a firm nod while Tess headed to the table to watch them with us. It wasn't much of a ceremony. All it consisted of was Gramps exerting a large amount of mana into Art cores. This would trigger a large surge of mana that he would have to direct and spread into his body. I'll skip the next part about their talk of the beast's will. Good. Let's begin the ceremony, Gramps replied, clasping his hands together. Art and Gramps stood face to face, close enough that Art could sense the older man's calm, steady breathing. The air around them seemed to crackle with unseen energy. The rest of us sat nearby, our gazes fixed on the pair as the maids quietly brought in our breakfast. The aroma of freshly baked bread and fruit preserves filled the air, but none of us could focus on the food. Just let your mana come out freely, Gramps instructed, his voice low and soothing. Don't try to control anything. I'll restrain you if necessary, so it's crucial that you keep a relaxed state of mind and rouse the particles of mana you've assimilated all these years. Virion then began exerting mana into Art's core, flooding it with his own energy. The air around them began to shimmer, like heat rising from sun-baked stones. Art's eyes widened, and I could almost feel the surge of power coursing through him. Suddenly, Aaliyah stood up, her movements fluid and purposeful. With a wave of her hands, she created a dome of swirling, multicolored petals around us. It was beautiful, like being inside a living rainbow. Without warning, a powerful impulse slammed into the dome. The petals danced and swayed but remained intact. As quickly as it appeared, the dome vanished. My eyes darted around, trying to make sense of what had happened. That's when I saw Gramps, lying on the lawn far from where Art stood. He had activated his second phase, his body glowing with a faint, otherworldly light. Even with his enhanced defenses, he'd been thrown like a rag doll. Gramps, are you all right over there? I called out, my voice tight with worry as I leapt from my chair. Gramps simply raised one arm, giving a thumbs up. I let out a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding. Turning my attention back to Art, I saw him swaying on his feet, clearly drained. Without hesitation, I rushed to his side, scooping him up in my arms. It's okay, Art. I've got you, I murmured, feeling his body go limp against mine. As I carried him towards the castle, I could feel the eyes of everyone on us. The weight of their concern was almost tangible. The others quickly caught up, their footsteps echoing in the hallway. Gramps called out, his voice tinged with curiosity. Do you know what kind of beast gave your brother his will? Aaliyah approached, holding out her arms to take Art from me. I hesitated for a moment, reluctant to let go of my brother, before carefully transferring him to her care. Yes, I was with him when it happened, I replied, choosing my words carefully. The memory of that day flashed through my mind, but it's up to him whether he tells you or not. Gramps nodded, understanding in his eyes. We all fell into an anxious silence as we made our way to Art's room. Once there, Aaliyah gently laid Art on his bed. News of what had happened spread quickly, and soon Alduin and Muriel came rushing in, their faces etched with worry. After explaining the situation and assuring them that Art would be fine, they reluctantly returned to their duties. The room felt emptier without them, the silence broken only by Art's steady breathing. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Art stirred. Tess was sitting to his side, laying her head down on his legs. I watched as Virion, his silver hair disheveled and his usually pristine robes slightly askew, fixed my twin with an intense gaze. I could see the mixture of concern and curiosity in Virion's eyes as he asked, "How are you feeling, brat?" His lips curled into a half grin, but I knew there was genuine concern beneath his gruff exterior. Arthur, still catching his breath, chuckled and then winced. I felt a pang of worry for my brother, but I knew he was tough. I should be the one asking that, Gramps. I saw you getting sent flying like a rag doll, he quipped. I couldn't help but smile at their banter. It was so typical of them. Virion's cheeks flushed with embarrassment, and he let out a self-deprecating laugh. I have to admit, I wasn't expecting such force. You've grown stronger than I anticipated. Well, you did train me, Gramps, Arthur replied with a grin. I had to live up to your expectations somehow. Virion chuckled. That I did, but there's something more to it, isn't there? His expression turned serious, and I tensed, knowing what was coming. I know Rimuru said you had a good reason for not telling me what kind of beast gave you its will, but I'll ask just one more time. What sort of beast was it, Arthur? I held my breath, waiting for Arthur's response. We had discussed this moment, but it was still nerve-wracking. Arthur hesitated, his eyes flickering to mine for a moment. Gramps, before I tell you, you have to promise to keep this a secret. It's not just for my safety, but for everyone's. Virian's eyebrows shot up. That's serious, huh? All right, you have my word. Now spill it, boy. She was a dragon, Arthur finally said. The room fell silent. I watched as Virian's face froze in shock. He began mumbling to himself, and I could barely make out the words, possible, and, never happened. Beside me, Aaliyah's eyes widened, and her jaw dropped. D-Dragon. Virian wheezed out. Are you absolutely certain? Arthur nodded solemnly. As certain as I am that we're standing here right now. Suddenly, Virian burst into laughter. Dear Lord. A D-Dragon tamer. In my life, I've never thought I'd be able to see the birth of a dragon tamer. I'm even the one that trained him. Ha ha ha. A dragon tamer. Tess woke up from her stupor and looked around, confused. I felt a twinge of guilt for keeping her in the dark, but I knew it was necessary. Virian grabbed Arthur's shoulders, looking at him intently. Ha ha ha. A dragon tamer. You did right in keeping this a secret. Don't tell anyone else. This power of yours has to be kept a secret until you have the strength to protect yourself and those around you. I'm beginning to believe that more and more, Gramps, Arthur replied, and I nodded in agreement. Good. Although I would like to know the whole story, but I am more than satisfied with what you've told me for now. Gramps was giving him a big smile. Tessa's eyes darted between Gramps and the others, her curiosity getting the better of her. Come on, Gramps. What's the big secret? What did Art and Ree tell you? She crossed her arms, her lower lip jutting out in an exaggerated pout. It's not fair keeping me in the dark like this. Gramps chuckled, his sharp features softening with amusement. Patience, little one. All will be revealed in due time. He turned to Arthur, his expression growing more serious. Arthur, I have some exciting news. Remember the teleportation gate that was supposed to open in 2 years? Art's eyebrows shot up. Yeah, what about it? Well, Gramps continued, it's opening earlier than expected. In just 4 months, there's going to be a tournament in Xyrus City. A tournament? Art echoed, leaning forward with interest. Gramps nodded, his eyes twinkling. Not just any tournament. This is going to be a pivotal event. The dwarves and elves are sending their young ones as representatives. They'll participate in the tournament and also serve as preliminary students at the Human Academy. That's unexpected, Art mused, rubbing his chin thoughtfully. Indeed, Gramps agreed. And it presents us with a perfect opportunity. During all the hustle and bustle of the tournament, we can sneak you back into Sapin without the humans catching on. Tessa's excitement quickly faded as realization dawned. Wait, so you're leaving soon? Her voice wavered slightly, a sad smile tugging at her lips. Art turned to her, his expression softening. Yeah, we need to get back to our family. But hey, he added quickly, seeing her downcast look, this isn't goodbye forever. We'll definitely come visit again. And who knows? Maybe you could come to Sapin someday. Tess perked up at that, her eyes shining with determination. You're right, and I promise, I'm going to train super hard. Next time we meet, I'll be way stronger. I couldn't help but feel a swell of pride at Tessa's words. That's the spirit, I said, reaching out to ruffle her hair affectionately. We wouldn't expect anything less from you. But remember, we still have 4 months before we leave. Let's make the most of it, okay? Yeah. Art and Tess chorused, exchanging excited glances. Gramps cleared his throat, his tone growing more serious. Arthur, listen up. These next few months are crucial. Your mana core hasn't developed much in the past 2 years due to all that assimilation work. It's time to kick your training into high gear. I nodded in agreement. Gramps is right, and remember, while your beast's will is powerful, it should only be a last resort. Using it carelessly could draw unwanted attention from all sides. Understood, Art replied solemnly. Gramps clapped his hands together. Right then, Arthur, you smell like you've been wrestling with a swamp monster. Go take a bath and get some rest. The rest of us will give you some space to recuperate. We all got out of the room, Then each of us parted on his way and I went to my room. As I stepped into the room, I felt a faint vibration run through my fingers where my dimensional ring was. My heart raced with excitement as I realized it was Sylvia's egg. Without hesitation, I delicately retrieved the egg from the depths of the ring, cradling it gently in my palm. The shell trembled ever so slightly, a sign that the moment I had been eagerly awaiting was imminent: the hatching of Sylvia's precious egg.